Hello and welcome to CTV News Across Canada for Tuesday, January 20th. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast. Stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
It's not going to be a night where you want to be out driving with a blizzard warning in effect for an area stretching from Exeter north to Tobermory.
The concern with that is with that fresh snow and the high winds that there's going to be some whiteout conditions and drifting, which we've had here before, obviously.
But tonight might be on the extreme end of bad winter weather with 70 to 90 kilometer an hour wind gusts, 20 to 40 centimeters of snow, and minus 20 to 25 degree temperatures expected.
Hey, listen, this is where we live. You know, we can expect some inclement weather. Prepare, plan ahead, discuss your plan with your loved ones. You know, when you set out, where are you going to go? Make sure that cell phone's charged up. Clear off all the windows on your car. Make sure you've taken the time to fill up your washer fluid. Make sure you have lots of fuel. All those basic reminders, but, you know, we still have to say it because people find themselves in situations they're not prepared.
Sullivan says he really encourages drivers to consider staying home tonight due to the forecast conditions, and at minimum to check out municipal511.ca before heading out to see what roads are closed and what road conditions are out there.
You can zoom in on the province. Actually, you can look at the entire province, not just our area. But it really gives you a good overview where the bad weather is happening and where the road closures are. And then motorists can make a more, a better decision before they head out on the roads, whether that's a good idea or not.
In Midwestern Ontario, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Nova Scotia power crews were left battling scenes like this: downed wires and scattered outages. 140,000 homes or businesses, or about 25% of the utility's customers, lost power at the storm's peak.
I work from home and I can't work, so I need to put my personal day off.
He says a few hours would be understandable, but not a full day.
They kept on changing the restoring time from 7:45 a.m. to 11 a.m. and then to 2:45 p.m. and now it's supposed to be now 6 p.m.
We definitely understand that power outages can be frustrating for customers. We know that in this event, the heavy, wet snow has stuck to trees and it's caused them to come into contact with our power lines.
The utility also blaming poor road conditions this morning, making the job even more difficult. There were several collisions and big rigs getting stuck across the province, closing some highways. But Nova Scotia Power acknowledges the impact was greater than first thought.
We have seen a higher number of power outages today than we had anticipated.
In Sydney, transit services had a delayed start while the cleanup took place. Schools across Nova Scotia were closed, but for some students, it was work before fun.
I got out of bed right away. I ate breakfast. I saw my dad doing the driveway, so I came out after eating. And then I helped him for a little bit, and then I started playing with my toys to make a tunnel for them.
Then it was on to snow carving.
It's awful heavy. It's really hard to shovel.
Others leaning on their younger neighbors for an extra hand.
In the snow, it's a lot, but I'm happy I don't have to go to school.
Back to the power outages, some are losing hope that a bigger long-term fix like underground power lines will come.
I'm living in Halifax since last 8 years now, and this is the story of every year. So practically they should have some solution, which I don't see coming in shorter time because of all the budgeting and other issues.
Now, the utility says the majority of customers will be reconnected tonight, but that some outages will linger until tomorrow. An important note for people in the Halifax area: for the second consecutive night, the winter parking ban will be in effect. That's from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. The city says last night, during the first ban of the season, 63 vehicles were towed and 312 tickets were issued. You're being warned also to not shovel snow onto city sidewalks or streets.
This surveillance video is the last known sighting of Liam Toman. At 3 a.m. on February 2nd, he's seen leaving a bar and heading towards his hotel. His parents have scoured every frame, looking for clues.
We would have loved to have additional video surveillance to track Liam down within those last steps because he just disappears by the side of the hotel.
He says the lack of footage and clues over the last year has been frustrating. Tonight, the family is speaking to the town council to ask for increased video surveillance of the area.
We don't want this to happen to any other family again. So we're advocating for security upgrades within the ski village and the areas around the village.
In the last year, the Tomans have made a dozen trips from Ontario to the ski resort. Working with police and volunteers, they've searched the area, handed out wristbands, and talked to tourists. They're also working with the new mayor to ensure the search for Liam continues.
To have that time with him last night was an opportunity to discuss a lot of the issues, and he agrees. It's time to fix forward.
In March, Liam's wallet was found in one of the parking lots. The Tomans believe their son may have been kidnapped.
Our family believes Liam isn't here, but the answers are.
Police say the investigation is ongoing.
Right now, we don't have any credible information that saying something criminal has happened, but it's not excluded because everything is on the table.
The SQ will be setting up a command post on the anniversary of his disappearance in the village, and there's a $50,000 reward for information that breaks the case. In the meantime, the family is doing whatever it can to get Liam's name and face out there.
We are coming back and searching in the spring. We're not stopping.
They still believe someone knows something. Denise Roberts, CTV News.
What really happened at this apartment on the morning of October 19th, 2025?
It's a question many have been asking. 25-year-old Eli Wood was living on Major Street in Kitchener when a fire broke out at his apartment in the early morning hours of October 19th. He's been missing ever since.
I think for me, the hardest thing is, one, not knowing what has happened.
Michelle Roy Brock says she's known Eli for years. The pair first met during their undergrad at Mount Allison University in New Brunswick and kept in touch until his disappearance.
Eli is probably one of the most kindest people I have ever met in my life. This whole situation completely shocks me because nobody deserves this, but Eli deserves this so much less.
Please stop scrolling and help me find my friend Eli Wood.
Roy Brock uses social media to share Eli's story in hopes that new information will be brought to light. But she says misinformation is also making its rounds.
People are kind of just making up stories, acting like this is some sort of TV show, and it hurts.
The case has taken off online, with deep dives and conspiracy theories being posted from around the world. And while many may be well-intended, some may cause more harm than good.
The criticisms of the police and a whole bunch of silly theories aren't going to help find Eli.
Experts say there's a fine line when it comes to the role social media can play in criminal investigations. On one hand, it can lead to tips, but on the other, it can put more pressure on police.
Trust the police to do what they need to do, and if you can help find Eli, then help. Other than that, stay out of it.
CTV News reached out to Waterloo Regional Police, who did not provide an update on the investigation, but they confirmed it remains active and ongoing. They also referred to a previous news release urging people not to rely on unverified information circulating on social media, as it may be inaccurate and could hinder the investigation. In the meantime, Roy Brock says the fight to find Eli goes on.
Continue sharing and talking about Eli and showing his face to everybody you know could make a difference.
Alexandra Hullick, CTV News, Kitchener.
Veteran Ontario Provincial Police Officer Chris Prout has been arrested and charged with impaired driving while on the job. The 39-year-old Southern Georgian Bay OPP constable who first joined Midland Police Service in 2009 before transferring over to the Ontario Provincial Police was arrested while driving a marked SUV. Police confirmed the charges in a media release Sunday, saying a parallel investigation by the OPP Professional Standards Unit is underway. In a statement, the OPP said it, quote, remains committed to maintaining public trust and confidence and ensuring its members are held to the highest standards of professionalism and accountability. The OPP wouldn't provide further on-camera comment on the case. Those who know Prout describe him as a hardworking officer. Police would not say what prompted the impaired driving investigation into Constable Prout, confirming, however, that no collision occurred. According to the OPP, Prout has been suspended with pay. The accused is scheduled to make his first appearance in a virtual courtroom in late February. The allegations against him have not been tested in court. Mike Arsledy, CTV News, Midland.
The front door of the townhouse unit was riddled with bullet holes, at least a dozen shots fired. A man in his 20s standing behind that closed door was rushed to hospital with what police describe as life-threatening injuries. We spoke to a neighbor who heard the shots. She is concerned for her safety and asked that we not show her face on camera.
Just heard people running and a bunch of gunshots, at least 8 to 13, 14 shots. It sounded like an automatic handgun. And then running again, and then I looked out my window and I seen the cops come with their rifles running here, seeing the shots, and then they kept running around looking. It was just really crazy.
CTV News obtained these photos taken minutes after the shooting. It shows officers with weapons drawn on the scene. The screen door window is smashed out by the suspect gunfire. It happened at 12:25 this morning at Shoreham Drive and Shoreham Court. That's near Jane and Steeles.
We recognize that incidents like this are concerning for the community. Investigators are working diligently to determine exactly what happened and to identify those who are responsible.
Police say the motive is currently unknown. There was a heavy police presence in the neighborhood today as officers canvassed for any information. There are several security cameras attached to the building. It is a Toronto community housing complex. Police are reviewing footage in hopes of identifying any suspects. 2 men were seen leaving the area in a dark-colored sedan.
Any witnesses that may have been in the area that may have some footage, may have some dash cam footage, please, we'd ask everybody to check your cameras, the doorbell cameras.
Meanwhile, residents say the gun violence is unsettling.
I woke up my 2 daughters. They were freaking out, and my son was crying when the shots went off and everything. And with how many times it's happened since I've moved here, like I've only lived here like 4 years, it's gotten out of hand.
Police say the Guns and Gangs Task Force is leading the investigation with help from 31 Division police officers. So a bit of a frightening situation for the residents in that complex. Police say if you have any information and you're worried about your safety, you can still use Crime Stoppers and do it anonymously. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman.
This was the scene Sunday night as crews responded to calls for a fire and residents trying to escape this 3-story building in Hintonburg.
I didn't see anything at the time. I think most of it had already been resolved, but I definitely smelled a bit of smoke. They had the fans going at the door, so I think they were airing the place out.
Firefighters arriving within minutes, containing the blaze to a first-floor unit.
They extinguished the fire that was found in a bedroom on the first floor. They then did a search. At the same time, a resident was found inside the bathroom of the same fire unit, unconscious with severe burns.
Ottawa Fire confirming the victim was a man in his 70s who died in hospital.
2 firefighters carried the victim out, where another another truck had set up a medical sector where they were ready. They started CPR immediately. As soon as the victim was brought outside, they had oxygen ready and a defibrillator.
The resuscitation was initiated by the firefighter, was taken over by the paramedics who continued resuscitation efforts during his transport to the hospital, where unfortunately he was pronounced deceased later in the evening.
Paramedics say they were called back to the scene an hour later for a male in his 60s who sustained smoke inhalation. He was treated and taken to hospital in stable condition. Officials say the fire was under control in less than 30 minutes and did not spread beyond the 1 unit, but 19 residents have been displaced.
On behalf of the Ottawa Fire Services, we do want to send our condolences to any family or friends that are affected by this incident. And just that this was a very tragic first fire for 2026, and our thoughts are with everybody.
Ottawa police say they're continuing to work alongside fire investigators.
We'll run a parallel investigation, but at this point there's no criminality with regards to the fire. And we're here to assist the Office of the Fire Marshal, fire investigator, as well as our counterparts with the Ottawa Fire Department.
Neighbors seen expressing their condolences and say they're still shaken up.
It's unfortunate to hear that there was a person who passed away from it. That really sucks.
Officials were on scene again today, talking to residents nearby and are urging anyone with information about the incident to contact them as the investigation continues.
What do we do?
Hundreds of faculty, librarians, and counselors walked the picket line in the cold, snowy weather after mediated talks reached an impasse.
The members are ready to be there for how long it would take to reach a fair and equitable settlement.
The union says during the insolvency process a few years ago, faculty made sacrifices to help stabilize the school. Now it's time for the Board of Governors to step up.
In addition to the massive layoffs, we had significant wage rollbacks and our pension plan was decimated. So now that Laurentian University is financially stable and is doing quite well actually, it's time for the Board of Governors to recognize these sacrifices.
In a statement posted to its website, Laurentian University says it's tabled a fair offer. The university's proposed salary increases are beyond what is normative in the sector, and our offer includes improvements for LUFA members in key areas. Our primary responsibility is to make sure that Laurentian University is strong for the future. The campus is open, but there aren't any classes due to the strike. Laurentian says it wants to put students first, but Colin says if you want to do that, you can't put faculty last. Some students joined the picket line knowing what their professors have endured over the past several years.
I was here during the insolvency in 2021, and so I know that the professors have suffered a lot in the last 5 years, and so I think that having a better contract is really important for them, but it's also really, really important for students.
A former steelworker, Sudbury's MPP, visited the picket line to show his support.
When I was working on the picket line, my MPP didn't show up at all during that time, so I think it's important to come out to workers, speak with them, speak with their families, find out what's going on, so you have a more well-rounded version of how negotiations are going.
No new talks are scheduled. Angela Gemmell, CTV News, Sudbury.
Snow wasn't the only thing swirling around Gimli Monday. Speculation hit the coffee shop as residents tried to work out what led to their mayor being suspended.
I feel that there's a lot of things going on here that really I've questioned and never got answers for.
Debbie Fakes has made Gimli her home for the last 9 years. She says she wants to know what led to Mayor Kevin Chutt's 7-day suspension and why the RM won't tell people like her what happened. She says it's hard to tell if the punishment fits the misconduct without more details.
Again, we don't know what he's done. And we don't know who came up with this week thing.
It all started on Friday. A public notice was sent out saying an investigation into Chutt's conduct started in March 2025 after a complaint was made. The RM hired an independent investigator, and that report found, quote, several allegations were found to be founded. The investigation found, quote, cause for sanctions related to the conduct of the mayor and certain council members. Sanctions were imposed, including a formal apology from the mayor to the complainant, mandatory training for all council members, a full review of the code of conduct and other policies. Messages and calls to Mayor Kevin Chutt have not been returned. Back at the coffee shop, residents like Daphne Marcuson continue to speculate.
Everybody's assuming it's all kinds of different things. If we definitely knew, people would know, but because of that, people are saying could be this, could be that. It's kind of upsetting that we don't really know what circumstance happened.
CAO DJ Sigmerson was not available for an interview but sent this response in part, saying the process is confidential under the law. Manitoba's council members' codes of conduct regulation under the Municipal Act requires investigator reports, evidence, and findings to remain confidential except for what council is permitted to disclose. This protects complainants, witnesses, and the integrity of the process. But for Debbie Fakes, what happens on council is everyone's business. She has a message for the RM.
We would like you to be as open as you can with us because, like I said, it's really, really devastating that we have to find out through a paper and through an article that our small town is going through this with a mayor that we all elected.
We asked the Association of Manitoba Municipalities for comment on the situation. They were not aware of the specific complaint, but sent a statement saying generally they support transparency and accountability. Also, the association says they provide training and guidance for RMs like Gimli to build strong governance practices.
After the win, I became the Jeffrey Dahmer of Lotto. and it's pretty hard to swallow.
After a 4-year-long dispute over the winnings in a work lottery pool, Phil Sotzos feels a sense of closure. His legal battle against the other 16 members of the pool reaching a settlement this fall.
I'm under an NDA, so I'm going to say this. I cannot tell you if I got money or not. I cannot say that. I can just tell you that we are settled. I'm going to say it's more of I'm glad it's over than a vindication.
Sotzos' lawsuit stems from his time working sporadically as a driver at an auto parts company in 2021. A member of a work lottery pool, he alleges keeping a tab wasn't uncommon.
It's when I saw him, I paid him. Like I said, sometimes I wouldn't see him for a couple months, and we would just keep a tab going. There was also times where I prepaid.
That was until one day he arrived at work with a pizza in hand.
Walked in, gave a pizza. I'm like, "What's up, guys?" And they kind of looked at each other. I kind of got a funny feeling about it, just the way they looked at each other.
Those looks were the result of the lottery pool winning a $1 million prize. Sotzos just didn't know it.
I get back in my car, I get in my phone, hit Google, and the first thing that comes up, the guy eating the pizza, he's holding $1 million check. And that's how I found out.
Cut out of the $1 million share, Sotzos launched a lawsuit. If given a cut, he says each person will only lose about $4,000. Losing out on the winning ticket cost him more than money.
It's a pretty bitter pill to swallow. Having your friends flame you like that. Over what? Over $4,000.
Unable to share the results of the settlement, Sotzos wants his story to be a lesson for those in group lotto pools. OLG offers an online tool for group play. For those using a more traditional method, they advise using a team coordinator, documenting the players, setting a deadline to play, and deciding how the winnings will be split. All of those are tools Sotzos wishes were included in his pool, a time in his life he's ready to move on from.
I did what I thought was right. I'll take it to my grave that these guys knowingly cut me out.
Robert Lothian, CTV News.
The clock is officially ticking for gun owners in Canada, as they now have until the end of March to either be compensated if they own a banned firearm or permanently deactivate those weapons. Members of the federal government say the program is designed to get dangerous types of guns off the streets.
They themselves would agree that getting military-style assault weapons off our street is something that we should always be cognizant of, and the danger it poses to the general public.
But CTV News talked to the owner of Cash Tactical Supply, Aaron Strauss, who was singing a different tune. He says the program does nothing but take firearms away from responsible gun owners and does nothing to curb the spread of illegal guns in the country.
It will have absolutely no impact on public safety because every firearms owner has to be vetted by the RCMP through the PAL system before they're ever allowed to buy a firearm, and that system works.
Strauss also believes the program is a waste of a lot of money. The Canadian Taxpayers Federation agrees, saying the issue the federal government should be focusing on is the flow of illegal guns coming over the United States border.
They're saying there's about $742 million that's budgeted for the program as a whole, but then about $250 million for the compensation program for the banned guns specifically.
While many in Saskatchewan are against the program, there are some in Canada in favor of it, including organizations like Poly Remembers, a group made up of survivors and families of the 1989 Polytechnique massacre in Montreal that claimed the lives of 14 women. The chair of the Canadian Doctors for Protection from Guns also hails the program as a step in the right direction. According to the program, if gun owners with banned firearms do not use the buyback program, their weapons must be disposed of or permanently deactivated by the end of an amnesty period, October 30th. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.